Another way to solve a system of linear equations is by substitution. Remember, substitution is when you make an equal trade. And in order to do that, you have to have one of the variables by itself. So here I have x by itself, and it is equal to -7 plus 3y. And so I can look in my top equation and see that where I have an x, because wherever I have an x, I can replace that with what I have below. When I look at b, I don't already have one variable by itself. Like here I have 3y, and in order to get y by itself, I'd have to divide by 3, and I would have a fraction over here, so I wouldn't want to do that. Here I have an x and a minus 2y, and so I can get rid of the minus 2y pretty easily by adding 2y to both sides. So we have to add 2y to both sides in this case, and that is going to give us, because this is going to cancel out, x equals positive 2y, because 2y plus 0 is just 2y. And at this point, I now have x equal to something. X is equal to 2 times y. So I have to look in my other equation and find an x. And right here, I have an x. So I'm able to replace x with 2y because those are two equivalent quantities. And so I'll go ahead and simplify. I'll work through part B. You can go back and do A on your own. I would pause here and solve this on your own. So 3y would be equal to 2y plus 1. We want to get all the y's on one side, so I would subtract 2y from both sides. 3y minus 2y is just 1y, or y. These canceled out, and it left me just 1. So I already know that y is equal to 1. I have part of my answer. I have the y part. Remember, it's always x comma y. It's in alphabetical order. In order to get the x value, I can take either one of my equations and I can substitute y in for 1. So I know that y is equal to 1, and I can plug that up here where y is equal to 1. So if I have x equals 2 times y, then I'm now putting 1 in there. 2 times 1 is just 2, so the x spot of my ordered pair is 2, and my solution is 2, 1. Now let's take a look at solving by elimination. Typically when we have this, we have our x and y already stacked up, aligned, in order to want to use this method. And again, let's take a look at this first one, and we're looking for opposites. So that's what we're looking for here. In order to use elimination, we're looking for opposites. And I can see that I have opposites right here. I have a plus 3y and a minus 3y. And so I could just add those together. I'm going to let you do this one. Let's talk about b, because b is a little different. I have 2x plus 7y equals 17, and I have 8x plus 3y equals -7. I don't have any opposites, so I have to think about making an opposite. And you can really do either the x's or the y's. In this case, it's going to be easier to cancel out your x's because I can just multiply 2x by something to get the opposite of 8x. So I'm looking to get a -8x. That's what I want to have right here. I want to multiply this equation by something in order to get a -8x, and that would be -4. So if I do -4 times 2x, I get -8x like I have here. If I do -4 times 7y, I get -28y. And if I do -4 times -17, I get -68. And I just wrote this down below because I don't have room on my screen over here. And I actually, if I do it this way, I don't have to rewrite this equation. So now I'm taking my bottom equation and my written top equation after I multiplied it by -4, and I'm able to add these two together, because now when I do that, -8x and +8x cancel out. Here between my y values, that's going to give me -25y. And on the right side of my equal sign, -7 and -68 is -75. And so this little mini equation I can solve by dividing both sides by -25. And I'm left with y is equal to +3. So again, I have part of my solution. I have the y part. In order to find the x part, I need to pick either one of my equations. It does not matter which. So if I take that top original equation, 2x plus 7y, but instead of putting a variable y, I'm going to plug in the known value of 3, since that's what we know what y is, equals 17. And now we can simplify and solve. So 2x plus 21 equals 17. I can subtract 21 from both sides. My 21 and -21 cancel out, and I'm left with -4 on the right side. And then I can divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself, and I'm left with x is equal to -2. So that was my other answer. So -2, +3 is the intersection of these two lines.